Welcome back. This is the Energy Nexus podcast. Of course, continuing to bring you conversations here from the Namibia International Energy Conference 2026. Its 8th edition. Of course, the road to first oil and beyond. The 2026. Of course, that's the theme here. And we now have with us the chairman of the African Energy Chamber, Mr. Ayuk, a very, very, of course, close partner of Rich Consultants Africa, and of course, a very present and supportive guest here at the Namibia International Energy Conference. Good to have you back again.
Thank you. I'm home.
It's of course, it is your home. In fact, you have been quite a part of the journey of the International Energy Conference. Perhaps just your reflection on how it is going so far. It's 8th edition. What do you make of the developments, of course, that we're seeing with the delegates, the participation from, not only government, but even more so all the international delegates that we're seeing, and the interest from, the young people especially?
I think this conference is going from strength to strength. You saw people coming from everywhere. Mm-hmm. Namibia has become the ground zero of oil and gas. Yeah. Namibia has become the African home of energy. When many people were not developing, were not exploring, Namibia kept exploring. And here you see the results of that. But you know what's even more important? Mm-hmm. The message yesterday from the President of the Republic, it came from the heart of Namibia to the soul of Namibia and the soul of the energy industry. Right. It was a clarion call for what we need to do to get it. And boy, didn't they talk about young people? Mm. They put young people at the forefront, at the center of it. And I think that is what this industry is going to mean, because we got to move from FPSOs, big plans, to people. And that is what I see with this conference.
Talking about what the theme is all about, first, road to first oil and beyond. Can you give us your context in terms of, what this actually means from, Africa setting its energy sovereignty? What do you talk about that? What do you make of that when you hear that?
70% of oil and gas products that we use in our homes, cars, go through the Strait of Hormuz. And right now we're in a crisis. Yep. 63% that is used in Namibia goes through that Strait of Hormuz. Mm-hmm. We're in a crisis. So what does that mean? That means that there is a fierce urgency of now for us to have a domestic solution, homegrown solution to ensure that you have your energy security. So you must have a Namibia first strategy to say, how do we take care of stuff at home and then we become stronger abroad? Mm-hmm. And that is the big issues we're looking at. And with that in mind, you have to start thinking, okay, we're not just going to produce oil and gas in Namibia to ship outside to the world, and everybody has it, and then you still have people here poor. At this same moment, we have many people in Namibia that are energy poor. Mm-hmm. They get up every day, go to bed without electricity. And those that have electricity still have to worry about rationing. So we got to take care of that first, because a stronger Namibia spells for a better, more inclusive and prosperous country.
There's a lot of misconceptions, especially around international stakeholders who still have about Africa's, energy potential. From your work with, of course, a lot of different governments from different countries and investors, what are some of the misconceptions we know that are currently existing as far as energy is concerned on the African continent?
I think the biggest misconception is that we need to send energy outside and not use energy domestically because Africans can pay. That's not true. Because for a lot of times, we get energy from outside. Remember, for a long time, we produce a lot of oil, gas, we send it to Europe, they refine it, send it back to us, we pay more at the pump, and sometimes we don't get the top grade fuels for our cars, so it creates more problems. Take, for example, a country like Nigeria. Nigeria is producing a lot of oil, sending everything abroad. It's refined, and they get refined products. Now, it took an African to say, I'm going to build the single largest refinery in the world. They built it in that country. Today, it's taking care of not only Nigerian energy security, but regional energy security. My country, Cameroon, is receiving products from that country and all across Africa. And that is the big misconception: is that we cannot pay for energy. That's not true. We could pay for cell phones. We could pay for data. So don't tell us we can't pay for energy. But we just have to get that kind of enabling environment that allows energy producers to see a path to profitability, a path to stability, a path to predictability, and respect the sanity of contracts. And then everything comes together. And when you have energy, you have jobs, you have opportunity. And our young people start feeling very proud to do business at home.
And this conversation about energy, of course, it's just not all around that it's oil and gas. It's not only about this nuclear, of course, also being spoken about uranium, which is Namibia's one of our biggest exports as well. But unfortunately, Namibia doesn't, really process or utilize that. Apart from exporting it as also one of the world's biggest contributor. What do you think Namibia needs to do and also learn in terms of energy overall, in terms of really also industrializing itself in those areas as far as uranium and nuclear is concerned, nuclear, of course, upcoming. What really can we learn from international operators in that space?
Very simple. Ask yourself, what are the wealthy nations using your uranium to do? They take your uranium, process, and use it for their industries,
Yeah.
and provide power for their industries. Where are we today? We are at a time when we have to think about things differently. Nuclear energy is a clean form of base load energy that you need. And we don't just need energy, you need base load. And nuclear offers you that base load capacity that you need to drive up heavy industries and industrialization and all of that. And we shouldn't apologize for using nuclear. You know what? They're using it in France,
Yeah.
and nobody's questioning them. There's no reason why you can't use that here in Namibia and drive up massive industrialization here. You could start with SMRs. Nuclear is expensive. We need to find a pathway to financing. But let me tell you what would even happen when you use nuclear combined with gas. Our young people today, many Africans, are dreaming about being part of the AI revolution.
That's right.
So imagine you have that much base load, you can use it. You use the excess capacity that you do the energy poverty issues in the country. We build data centers. Build some of the biggest data centers you have in the world here. Google, Amazon use more data centers than many African countries using electricity. So we need to build data centers. What happens when you build data centers? You walk yourself to that path of AI. So our young people are not left backward. They are leading when it comes to the AI revolution. Because you know what? I believe in Africa, man. I believe in these young people. So if you put them right there with the right kind of technologies, then they can start leading. And when they are leading, we are winning. And when we are winning, then they're making amazing lives in this continent. That's how we dominate. We need to enter an era of African dominance in energy, and we shouldn't apologize to anybody for that.
How long do you think it's going to take us for us to walk that journey? Of course, it will need a lot of robust conversations, a lot of course, investments that will, of course, start at not only the African Energy Chambers events, not only international events, not only the International Energy Conference, but much more. How long do you think it will take us? Of course, looking at how much
I say not
conversations we're
long.
having.
Not long. Why should we have to wait long?
Tomorrow.
We need to have the fierce urgency of now.
Yeah.
That's our problem. We're waiting for something. Listen, you're gonna have to do a lot of this by yourself. Superman is not coming. Batman is not coming.
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever is a good movie, but the Black Panther is not coming. We're gonna have to do it a lot by ourselves. So you're gonna have to start right now. The second thing you're gonna have to really look at is that what do we put in place right now? We look at world-class regulatory environments. Do we have regulations to regulate and drive up and speed up in massive investment in energy infrastructure like data centers and AI? We put that in place. So we need to be very ready. It's better to be ready and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be ready. So we get ready with the right kind of frameworks immediately, then take that to the road and bring in the right people to come build that right here in this country. Massive land, massive opportunity. You can do data centers gas to power, fertilizers, urea, ammonia, NPK plants with energy coming out of nuclear energy, coming out of gas, and then you drive that for the future. You do that, then you start to do what Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God, writing your own history, because now we are writing that next chapter of what a truly Namibian and African Renaissance mean. And that is must be the bigger goal. So we can't talk about long term.
Yeah.
It got to be now. Look at our young people. They're hungry, man. They're hungry. I go around Africa, I see these young people. They want it now. So don't tell me about the future. The future is today. Give them today. It's like telling somebody, well, you just keep chilling at home. Food is going to come. No, 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 no. I want to eat today. So get this stuff done now. Have that fierce urgency of now. Give me that regulatory environment and go out there and really sort out the financing, because when they see profitability, when they see bankable projects, but the most importantly, believe in these young people. They are good at coding. They've mastered everything so well. We make a big mistake to not give them the ability to use their abilities to connect and build the future for us. I think the future is African.
Now, as we conclude, NJ, your advice to the next generation of African energy leaders, what is the mindset shift that you actually hope they embrace to truly transform this sector and the economies around this beautiful continent?
We got to move, and we got to move fast. That's very important. You know, people tell you be slow. No, we don't have time to be slow.
Yeah.
Our young people, Africans, every day they're talking about let's get projects going quickly.
Yeah.
Now the big issue now is, are we going to go back to the past, or are we going to think future? But we need to cut out the pettiness. You know, we got a lot of stuff where it's like, you look at Namibia, right?
Yeah.
Before you want to talk to government and policymakers to change, we got to also talk to Namibians to have a big change in how they look at energy and how they look at business and how they look at local content and getting involved.
Yeah.
I tell you something, man. Every one of us don't have to be CEO. Every one of us don't have to be managing director.
Yeah.
Every one of us don't have to try to be like Selma. Selma got her own destiny. God done bless, ordained her to be something else. She's going to take us to the mountaintop, you know. But now here's the other thing. We all need to fit these pieces together. So guess what? If you look at the companies in this engagement, they're doing mergers, acquisitions. They're coming together. So I know math, you know finance, this one knows science.
Yeah.
We all partner together and build something stronger. But this stuff, this individualism is not going to help us.
Yeah.
So our next feature as Africans, as Namibians, is to say we start working together, not by talk, but by action. And when we get together by action, then we start seeing real progress, because we coming together, then we really start drafting that future. And that is it. But we need to move quickly. You know, today we got 53% of discoveries around Africa have not gotten to FIDs because we're beefing with the companies. We arguing about this policy or who did that, we didn't do that.
Right.
We need to cut it. We need to move and say, there is an opportunity, take that, because the world of energy is going to be determined by whose energy is in demand and in the market and whose is still to come. Now, the big question is that, is your energy in the market? When you delay, you're going to delay yourself to poverty. Now, move fast, get yourself to prosperity, but take your people in it. Because at the end of the day, the person living in Tura or Kleinwindhoek should believe that they have a hope, ambitions that can be met. Just the same way like the person living in Paris or Nairobi or Berlin, Germany, or New York.
Absolutely. NJ, for believing in the International Energy Conference, for believing in Africa, for believing in this sector. Thank you so much for always, being quite a huge and inspirational voice to the sector. Of course, thank you so much, ever, always. Of course, wish you all the best for the conference.
Thank you. And don't forget, drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill.
Thank you,
Indeed.
sir.